So friends, finding the first job is the most challenging step in a designer's career, and many designers come to me for mentorship with this very request. I'll tell you, friends, what strategy we use. That is what we do, how we do it. I'll show examples of a designer's portfolio. In general, I'll explain what you need to do if you want to find your first good product design job. To start, friends, let me remind you of the stages involved in job searching. The first is naturally to create a portfolio. The portfolio should reflect the skills you have. The second is the resume. In it, you need to describe your experience. Then you write a cover letter, send out a large number of applications, attend interviews, and complete test assignments. If a designer has at least some experience, we usually go through all these stages. That is both skills, portfolio, resume, interview, test, cover letter, and so on. But when a designer has no experience, it becomes more difficult because there's nothing to write in the resume. This is precisely the main problem when looking for a job as a beginner. Friends, I'll tell you what is best to do in this case. If you don't have real experience, it's very important to immediately direct the employer to your portfolio. The portfolio should be good. It should showcase your skills, because if they first see your resume and there's no real experience, you will be rejected. They probably won't even look at the portfolio. But if you manage to immediately focus on your portfolio, and the portfolio should be good, then you have a great chance to interest the employer and naturally move on to an interview or a test to the next stage. I'll explain how this can be done. First, when you write cover letters on sites like Headhunter and others, you need to emphasize your portfolio directly in the cover letter. You need to make the employer interested specifically in your portfolio. That is, you need to, for example, write that you have already worked in this field. Look at the case I have. This can be specifically prepared for the vacancies that interest you. Or in some other way, you engage the employer right from the cover letter to move directly to the portfolio. Even if you don't have experience, a good portfolio can help you find a job. What else, friends, should you do? I would even focus not only on these sites like Headhunter. You need to go directly to the company's website. The link is always available, and check the vacancies section specifically on that site. There is usually an email or an application form there, so you definitely need to respond there as well. In other words, for every application you make, say, on Headhunter or elsewhere, you need to make the same number of applications, directly via email or through the application form, friends, because this is a way to bypass the need to attach your resume everywhere, as you do on Headhunter or SaaS, for example, friends. What else? Actively engage HR channels because various vacancies are often posted there. For instance, in Telegram, you can find them and there are direct HR contacts, which is very convenient. You can write to them directly, send your portfolio directly. They usually don't ask for a resume. And in this way, you can interest a potential employer. What else? We always have LinkedIn, so it should also be well organized. Showcase your projects there and write directly to HR and designers from companies that interest you or just HR. There are quite a lot of them there and they have vacancies and they earn by finding candidates. So if you show your good portfolio, they generally won't mind helping you, friends. These are the tools you need to use. The main thing is to always focus your attention on the portfolio, because with a resume, you will lose right away. And a good portfolio helps you, so to speak, win the competition. Now I will show what a good portfolio for beginners looks like using examples. That is, you will see what portfolios we create with designers during mentorship and what is important in them, friends. The first important thing is competent work processes, because when you join a company, you will be given tasks. It's important for the employer to understand which process you will follow. That's why it's very important to always show a good process in your portfolio. This is where you need to start. What comes next? The correct use of tools, because the process is essentially the sequential use of tools. And you need to make sure that you are using them correctly. That is not just, writing that you have some wireframes or scenarios or competitor analysis. This is often, just added randomly, so to speak. Some metrics are described, maybe even with the help of ChatGPT somewhere. Well, in general. And when you read this case, it's clear that the designer just added it for the sake of it. He actually doesn't know how to use this tool. And it's very important that you use these tools consciously. That is to show how you use this information for further work. Friends, what's next? Next, of course, it's important to show a good result. That is, this is specifically the UI layout, the final part, and describe the case competently. This is also very important, briefly to the point, so that your case reads well. These are the stages, friends, that make up a good portfolio. Therefore, friends, if you are a beginner designer looking for your first job in interfaces, focus on your portfolio. Your portfolio must be good by default. Otherwise, you definitely won't be able to find a job because the competition is high and there are many other designers who have nothing to put in their resume. With a resume, well, it's very difficult for a beginner to find a job. Therefore, a strong focus on the portfolio is necessary. And you need to use the tools that I mentioned, which focus on your portfolio, rather than just looking at your resume and inviting you to a job based on it. So that's all for now. I hope this video was useful to you. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.